Hey everybody, welcome back to This Old Trike. Today we're going to do some experimentation with my 85 350X behind me. As you can probably remember, because it wasn't that long ago, I did a top speed run on this machine that's had motor work. It's got a super trap, it's got a 400DX carburetor on it, a couple mods like that, and I was only able to get 65 miles an hour top speed out of it, which I thought was low. Now, I'm not the lightest guy that you're going to encounter.
That guy in a little coat.
But I'm not, the heaviest either.
That guy in a little coat.
So I'm sure weight is a factor, but I think with some finessing and tweaking of the gear ratio, the sprocket sizes, we should be able to squeak out a little more top speed. So join me today. I'm going to go through a couple different combinations, do a few different top speed runs, and see what we come out with. Let me show you what I've got in store. Okay, as I mentioned, this is my 85 350X. It has a 10 1/4 to 1 Wiseco high compression piston. It has a webcam, 340B. It has stiffer valve springs, kibble white valve springs. This board, we bored it once 50 over, and I think we did it 50 over again because of what we had on hand. So I think it's a 359 cc motor at this point when I did the calculation. It's got the super trap slip on. It's got a stock head pipe. So even though it's got that, it might not be breathing as much as it might want to. It's got a 400DX carburetor on it. And those are the extent of the performance modifications. But what we've got here today that we're going to play around with. So the stock, let's talk about this. The stock sprocket sizing on this is a 13 tooth on the front, a 40 tooth on the back. And basic knowledge that anybody can probably figure out is if you go up with a tooth on the front sprocket, you'll gain speed. If you go down tooth count on the rear sprocket, you'll gain speed. And what we're going to do is make some incremental changes to see what that does. I've got 3 different sprockets here. I've got a 14 tooth front sprocket. I've got a 38 tooth rear sprocket and a 39 tooth rear sprocket. So 1 down, 2 down, 1 up. And my plan is to reestablish the baseline. We're going to take this for a spin, reconfirm top speed, because, conditions today might be different than conditions before, so I don't want that to be a factor. And we're going to see what changing the front sprocket does, and then we're going to leave the front sprocket on. We're going to go down 1 tooth on the rear, see what that does, and then we're going to come back and change that to the 38 tooth and see what that does. But here's what I'm figuring. Let's do a little math. Okay, so let's do a little math lesson here. So our stock ratio is 13 to 40. And when you divide 13 by 40, you get 0.325. So every 1 rotation of the front sprocket, you're getting almost 1/3 of a rotation out of the rear. So if we bump up the front sprocket size by 1 tooth, the new ratio is 0.350. So now we've gone past 1/3 of a rotation, so that's a little more turn on the rear tire by bumping that up. So let's keep that the same and drop a tooth on the rear. So that's 3.58. So not a huge gain, because 1 tooth on the rear is a smaller incremental gain than 1 tooth on the front. It doesn't change the ratio that much. Your denominator, without getting into a math lesson here, your denominator doesn't change as much as your numerator did, but 0.358. And if we go down 1 more tooth, 14 divided by 38 is 0.368. So that's, I don't know what the net change is there, but here's what we can kind of expect. So if that top 0.325 got us 65 miles an hour, we want to know what X is. And let's say X is the new top speed. So 65 is to 0.325 as X is to 0.368. So we're going to take this number and move it over here and multiply 0.368 by 65, divide it by that. And I've already done this. I'm checking my math here, and that should give us a top speed, all things the same, which, the motor's going to be working a little bit harder to do that, so we might not see this, but we might expect 73.6 miles an hour. And I did the number on this one, and that might actually be 71.8. I didn't do this. I'll do that before we actually try it and see. Just want to see how these compare. So that being said, I'm going to throw on my helmet and my clothes and just confirm what this number is going to be, and we'll track it all out as we go. All right, let's do it. It is quite icy. We've had rain. We've had people go through the ice yesterday. We're going to avoid those areas and see what we can do. So if you've seen any of my other riding videos, I like to get down onto the ice or the beach there by way of my buddy Jerry's house. He's got the shortest bank with the most even rocks, so it would be a wild ride to go down in another area. But when there's enough snow and it gets hard packed, you can do this just about any area. But we haven't got a lot of snow this season, so there's what looks like a good spot for me to go down. I've been using this quite often, and once I'm down here, we'd gotten some rain week before this, and that will make the ice rise, so you end up with some wet spots around the shoreline. So it looked a little wet back there. I'm just looking for an area of ice that I feel confident about, that it's not going to give me any trouble, and I'm liking what I'm seeing up here. But what I don't like about what I'm seeing is the fact that there is no snow on the ice. It is pretty glare right here. I mean, just a little bit of snow here and there, but I am not studded. I don't want to put studs into these 22-inch Atsu PV702s. I love riding with these, but I don't have any other 22-inch tires that I could stud. So I'm on the ice, just rubber, non-studded tires. I don't want to drop down to a smaller diameter tire that I have that is studded. What I'm looking for here is where the snowmobiles travel, because a studded snowmobile track can chew up the ice and give me a better grip. But what I'm finding is the conditions out here are not going to allow me to do a top speed run. As you can see, I'm struggling just to get into the 20 mile an hour range here. I know I can go on a little bit faster, but it won't be too much longer until I decide to abort. I've pretty much decided here. I just want to kind of see what I can get up to. And you can see 30s is about the extent. And even with that, it's very dangerous, because it wouldn't take much for your rear end to come around, and then all of a sudden you're in a spinning situation where you could catch a tire and go high side and have a bad day really quick. So based on this information, I'm going to shut it down here, turn around, and go down the road that I did Fat Cat top speed run on, and we're going to try that. So here we go. Let's get turned around. Okay, as you can see here, when you've got some snow on the ice, you can see I'm going a lot faster, getting up into the 50s. But I know I'm going to have to stop coming up here pretty soon, so I'm not trying to hit top end here. I'm approaching the shore where a lot of sleds up in our area will go to Sport Island Pub. I used to work here when I was in my teens and early 20s. It's a great eating establishment. The Lanzi family owns that. And I'm going to sneak up here, and you might remember this from the Fat Cat video. I'm going to act like I'm just going to go up to the gas station. This is where the sleds will make a route, at this end of the lake to go up and get gas. There's a gas station up here. We'll break now to get to the road where I'm going to do the top speed. Okay, here we go. Speedometer is recording, so we're just going to hit it. And this is about a half a mile stretch here, so up into the 30s. I'm noticing my speedometer is not as immediate as I'd like to see, but we are hitting that 65 mark. Getting down just there a little bit. 66, 68. As you can see, I hit 69 there where it records the max. So top speed on this run was 69 miles an hour. So that's 4 miles an hour faster than I was able to hit out on the lake the other day. So that's very interesting information. Okay, so I just checked my numbers, and it said we did 69 on that run right there. I had 0 traction out on the lake. I was slowly climbing, but the last thing I wanted to do was get going somewhere near top speed and then have my rear end come around on me and then find myself spinning and hoping I don't fall. So I crashed on the ice pretty hard last year and really hurt myself. So not looking to do that again. So I opted to do the same route I took when I did the Fat Cat, and I got 69 miles an hour. So that's a little bit better than what we recorded before, but there also was that dip. And I was just trying to see when that dip came into play. I took a screen recording of the speedometer reading that I'm going to overlay with the video, but I really won't know what happened when until I can compare both videos real time. But now I'm going to pull my sprocket cover. Well, let me show you. So I'm going to pull my sprocket cover and my front sprocket. Good time to do an inspection on that. And I'm going to try to minimally invasive get the new cover or the new sprocket on there. Chain is a touch loose, so probably I can get it on without having to adjust my chain at all. And we'll see how that goes. So let's get to work. Okay. We have the 14-tooth sprocket sitting next to the 13-tooth. You can see where on the 13-tooth, I've definitely seen worse, but that is a brand new fresh sprocket. We can take it over here to the machine. Now, depending on who you ask and who you talk to, some say the case saver will fit without issue on when you're using a 14-tooth sprocket. If you don't know what the case saver is, it's this. It's this little piece of metal. So if you throw your chain and it wads up in this space, it's not going to break through your case. Mine, you can see some shiny metal there. So mine's had some rub going on at some point. But I'm going to put that sprocket on and put this case saver in place and see if I can feed my chain back around that sprocket and see what happens. And I'll keep you posted. I basically just have it mocked up in here, and you can see there's not a lot of clearance for that chain, so I don't have a lot of faith that this is going to work without grinding that case saver. I don't want to run no case saver because I don't think that's a wise move. Yeah, we're binding. I'm not really wanting to have to wear it in either. I mean, it is very close. I mean, technically we made it. Let me see. Let me tighten things back up and see how she looks. Okay, she's on. 14 tooth on the front. That took a little bit longer than I expected. I did take the chain off the front sprocket, fed it around. I had to loosen my chain a little bit to get it to mount back up. Let's check tension. She's pretty tight, actually. Might be too tight. Let me double check that, see if I feel good about it. But if I do, we're just going to run it and see what a 14 tooth front does for this machine. So here we go, round 2. You can see sometimes my speedometer image changes based on how it's bouncing around in my pocket. I need to get a mount for my handlebars, and maybe that wouldn't happen. But back down on the beach here, following my old tracks, I'm just going to go straight down to that restaurant I mentioned and repeat this process. Now it's, I didn't keep track of the time, but it's probably 40 minutes later. So if I've upset the people on that road, maybe they've chilled out or forgotten. Almost to the restaurant, and we will chime back in when we get in position to do the run. Here we go. Gotta wait for this guy. Now I've already noticed the machine feels snappier at low speeds. So I've already noticed that feeling. And I don't know if I'm just paranoid about getting on it from as hard as I could at the get-go, but I didn't punch it as fast as I could. So that combined with the fact that it is taking a little bit longer to wind out. You'll notice here, like I think I'm fully on it at this point. I haven't even hit 65. I'm running out of road. And it isn't until I go down in the dip that I gain that extra little bit right at the end. I just go up and touch 69. So that is very surprising. you guys hear me when I was coming down the road?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. I'm pretty sure everyone in the 5 mile radius would probably hear that.
So should I do it one more time or no? So get this. I didn't see this coming. We changed the front sprocket. It is now 14 tooth, and according to our numbers, that is quite a significant jump all on its own. It made no difference in top speed. I did 69 on the first run with the 13 tooth, and I did 69 on this last run. Did not see that one coming. So what I think I'm going to do, because I'm not able to do this out on the lake, so I'm going down the road, and besides not being legal, I don't want to piss off my neighbors. So I'm going to jump right to the 38 tooth rear sprocket and see what that gets us. So 14 tooth front, 38 tooth rear. Like, power wise, it's making a big difference low end. I can feel this thing is super responsive. The feel is different because, you know, the power range is now changed. What I was used to is not what I'm used to now, or is not what's happening now. So that being said, I'm gonna pull the current sprocket, the stock 40 tooth sprocket, and put a 38 on it and see how that goes. Here we go. We are installed. 38 tooth on the rear, 14 tooth on the front. Camera's going a little screwy right now. But a couple observations. I am surprised at how much slop is in the chain when you put a smaller tooth sprocket on. That was quite a lot of slop that I had to take out of it. And I don't know how much adjustment is left before you'd have to drop a link. So there was some noticeable it's not as bad as it was when I brought it in. I could hear what I thought was grinding or rubbing, not necessarily a grinding, because that's bad. Not that this was good, but it was what I believe is the chain rubbing on the case saver. And I pulled that cover and I inspected it, and I do see just a little bit of rub. So I think it's something that's going to wear in, and it's not bad. It's that's what you hear. So it is touching, but just a little. You know, leave a comment if you think I'm an idiot for not grinding any of that off, but it's already pretty thin to begin with. And I just want to see what this will do right now. And I've got to tighten up my chain adjustment, or double check that I did because I can't remember. And we'll see what it does. 14 tooth on the front, 38 tooth on the rear. Here we go. Okay, round 3. At this point, you know the deal. I can feel the increase in responsiveness. It feels faster at low speeds. And that is not a question. I'm a little bit disappointed that I didn't see any gain in speed by changing the front sprocket, but it has got to make a difference with the combination up one tooth in the front and down two in the rear. So I'm really curious what we're going to see on this run, and my plan is to just hit it hard, get on it, and really give it everything I got, get down low, avoid the air resistance, and make it happen. So here we go. Moment of truth. Look both ways. One extra way. Here we go. We are on it. Immediately jumping apparently to 40, want to back down. So it makes me question the accuracy of this app that I'm using, but it should be fairly consistent. You can see we're up into the 60s. For some reason we zoomed in. You see 65 miles an hour. The dip is coming. 6, 7, 8. 71. That is our max. So that was, that dip definitely plays a part. So let's get in and reevaluate these numbers. Okay. So what's the number? What is the number? 71. Wow. That's interesting. That is surprising. Okay. Well, now we know. Well, there you have it. I tell you what, I can't believe those results. If you had told me going into this that I was only going to see approximately a 2 mile an hour difference, I wouldn't have spent the money. Let's talk about the money. So these sprockets, I went with PBI sprockets, and here's my experience with them. I bought two, which got me over the $75 free shipping that they advertised. And when I put them into my cart, it was I think they were $56 a piece. So obviously that's two of them, well over $70 or $75, whatever it was. And so the free shipping didn't show up. So I called and I said, hey, I got two sprockets in my cart, and that's over $70 or the $75. I can't remember what it was. So I should get free shipping, but it's not showing free shipping. What does that apply after I click order? And they said, oh no, we did away with that. That was gone at the beginning of the year. I said, well, you're advertising it on your website. You must be looking at a weird version. I don't know if they think I'm on Firefox or a Mac version, but I was at work at lunchtime and I'm like, well, I'm on Google Chrome. I don't know if you've heard of that, but that's the web browser I'm using. But I also have Internet Explorer right here. Yep, that's saying $70 free shipping. And then we got another one, Microsoft Edge or some crap like that. But all of them said that. And he goes, well, we did away with that policy. I said, so you're advertising it and you're not going to honor that? And they said, yeah. But I'm a schmuck, so I bought them anyway because they were still cheaper than the other company whose name I can't remember, but I'll post on them. So even without dealing with them, I will promote them above PBI, because if you advertise something, you should be good for your word, and they did not do that. So I just wanted to share that experience. Now let's talk more about this 350X. It's my cool license plate I had made by Richard Heisel. He's a cool guy. He will make whatever you want. If you want a custom license plate, I got my kids all one because I thought they were neat. Reach out to Richard Heisel. Look him up based on the info I'm putting on the screen right now, and you can have one too. So, $56 per rear sprocket. $14, I think my front sprocket was a JT sprocket. Of course, now I've misplaced the packaging. JT. I got this on eBay. Could not find non-stock sprockets, tooth-wise, on eBay. So I had to go with PBI or that other company. But had you told me that I would be spending $130 to only gain 2 miles an hour, I'd say it probably isn't worth it. But it feels faster at low speeds. So even though I'm sacrificing some power, I'm gaining speed at lower RPMs. So I won't say it's not worth it. But if my sole purpose was to just gain top end, there really wasn't a whole lot there. Now, had I not done that baseline to begin with, had I gone into this thinking the top speed was 65 based on the other day, a couple weeks ago, I would be excited. But having done the baseline and seeing that I hit 69 there, and this last run, I was crouched down. I'm trying to minimize wind resistance because there's a lot of wind resistance. When I pop up, I can feel it slow me right down. So 2 miles an hour. That's the verdict. You can change your sprockets. You will go faster. I did have some interference on the front sprocket. I don't know if it'll make a difference to go back down to 13. There might be some comfort with that. Like I really don't need to go that fast, so maybe I'll switch it back around. I don't know. But for all these mods, I would have thought I'd see some more top end, but there it is. That's what I have to share with you today. Drop me a message in the comments. Let me know what you think. Call me a liar. Say I did things wrong and I should have done other things. Say my chain isn't oiled enough, which it isn't, so I'd agree with you there. What lube do you use on your chain? I watched a video all about that, and I think what I saw was motor oil is the best lube. But yeah, let me know those things. If you have some things you want to see come out of the shop, let me know. Things you want me to work on, or just machines you want to hear about, let me know. I do have a surprise coming, probably in the next month. I'll be able to share with you this. I will share this picture with you for now, though. So that's my teaser, and you let me know what you think it is. I'll leave it as a what is it. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let me know what you think. Let me know what your experiences are, because that's my experience with this guy. This Old Trike over and out. Catch you later.